My leadership flywheel. Give you an overview of just the concept of a flywheel. It's a gyroscope. And early days, my dad told me, if you can keep it level, the gyroscope will go on and on and on for ages with very little energy expended. But if it's out of whack just a little bit, it's going to ka-thunk, ka-thunk, ka-thunk until it stops. And I find that most people's flywheels and most businesses' flywheels are out of whack because they only focus on fiscals, for example, things they can measure, but they haven't thought about all the other things that keep it balanced, keep it holistic. So my assumption, my hypothesis, I suppose, is that these are the elements that a leader has to focus on in order to get your flywheel flying right. You may already deal with all of these. You may miss one or two, but missing one or two is still going to give you a ka-thunk, ka-thunk. So I'll unpack these and I'll even give you some ideas for exercises that can help you dive into these. So ultimately, the inside is your ultimate goal. And I will unpack that also. But you've got to focus on culture, obviously focus on the business, the running of the show, which is different from the work. Your brand, how you come across to other people, insight. Are you talking to, your best customers? Are you getting an idea of trends? Do you know what's working and not working? Knowing how happy your clients are and who your best ones are. How does work flow through your organization? What are your outputs? What do you produce and how do they stack up? And then this kind of nebulous energy of an organization, which is different from culture, related to. But again, this is why this is a wheel. They're all inextricably intertwined. Energy is kind of, we'll call it morale, productivity, enthusiasm. Culture is just how well we're all working together the same way. And again, related, similar, but different. So winning big in my world is winning the war for talent, first and foremost. Every client I've run across has this issue, finding and keeping good people, working with lions. So if you'll see my video on lions, horses, and dogs, lions are the ones that make up, they're the 20% that make up 80% of your revenues, and or love for them or the product, and or marquee value. There's 3 reasons to take a job, but we'll go with fiscal. Your lions make up most of your revenues. Winning big is also doing your best work that you love, not auditioning, people calling you, no do-overs or waste. Do-overs are soul crushing. Goes back to winning the war for talent. But just for my personal work, do-overs should be out of the game. Having fun together, solvency, want to be in the black for less stress, and then having enough to thrive, to flourish. And those are achieving your noble goals, or at least having them in sight. Unpacking these, will give you just a little sense. These are questions, but what does each spoke of this wheel entail? So culture is who's the best fit for your organization and how do we best work together? How does your business run without your direct oversight? Some people call that leadership, but I call this whole thing leadership. So working on your business, not in your business. The business aspect, how do you lure more clients who make up the lion's share of your revenues? Get more lions. Your brand, how do you come across and how do you want to come across to the world? Clients and staff, internal, external, up and down. Insight is how do you stay smarter than your clients and ignite elegant solutions that move people? Clients, knowing who your lions are. What are their common threads? How do you find more of them? How do they define success? Why do they come to you? How do they define value in what you're giving them? And what makes them wildly happy? And if you don't know, you got to go ask them. Process. How do you kill the vampires that burn up your profits and your energy related with spin and inefficiency? How do we edit out things that no longer serve us? I find that meetings and email and bad managers are triple threat for just crushing people's souls. And it's so easy to change that. And about your work, how do you create outputs that spur pride internally and impact for your clients externally? And this energy piece, how do we get more of what drives productivity, efficiency, creativity, and happiness? Your staff happiness is going to drive their creativity, efficiency, and productivity. Those are inextricably intertwined. So I have some exercises that are ways in to understand different areas of your flywheel and right the ship, as it were, to make sure everything's flying cohesively. And I likely have videos on these, but if not, send me an email. I'll send you the details. There's a way to categorize your staff into a 9-box on attitude and competency, lions, horses, and dogs for them as well. Creating report cards, getting them to create their own report cards, having a 1-word brief for who's a good fit, and then documenting rules of engagement. I'll give you an example of a 1-word brief. I was working with a couple of clients, and one of them said, I want to hire people who are earnest, who come in on time, to put their head down, to get their work done. And I had Nike was one of my clients at the time, and I mentioned that to them, and they said, God help us, do not send us anybody earnest. We need people who are outrageous. But knowing what that 1-word perfect fit is like having a killer brief. You should watch that. Being able to break out your lions, horses, and dogs. Your clients can be broken into lions, horses, and dogs. Your products, there's 20% that makes up 80% of your revenues that you love working on and or get you that marquee value. And horses are opportunities, dogs are squeaky wheels, but they suck up time and attention. So it's reframing how you see those. But the first thing is to be able to put them into categories. And I'll tell you, I've done that with leadership teams, and each person on that team put the same client in all 3 boxes, and the team put all of their products in all 3 boxes. So alignment is more than half the battle. Focusing on your brand, writing a love letter to your brand, finding a metaphor and a poster child. I've got most of my experiences on brands, and I could go wildly into that. But again, just keep the flywheel flying straight. Insight, there's creative, inexpensive research you can do to get insight into what's going on, what people want, and what drives them. Satisfaction metrics, whether you do a survey, whether you take them to lunch, but understanding how they see the world and how they define value. And I'll give you an example. I always thought it was, that I was efficient and always on time and always on budget, that clients came to me. And when I started asking them for testimonials, not one of them mentions it. It's the energy I bring to the party. It's how I see the world a little bit differently than everybody else, and how I get them to see it and get excited about it. Couldn't have guessed. So you got to ask. Process, efficiency pinky swears. Killer process is in this video, and kill those vampires that suck people's souls. Processes always get added, but no one ever takes any away. So streamline that and make new pinky swears. Your work, creating a wall of fame and a wall of shame. Let's put up stuff that we love, that we're really happy we did, and stuff that we wish we hadn't done or wish we had done differently. Or if it's a little too close to the bone, do it with work out in the world in your category. What's the stuff that we love? What's the stuff that we don't love? And can we put language to it? And can we come to some agreement about what we want to build, about what is awesome in our category, in our industry? And then to get to energy, doing a 1 to 10 happy meter, asking people to do that. I have clients now who do that at the beginning of every meeting. And if somebody is a 4 or below, nothing new starts until they get help. Lifts and drains on a personal level, also on a team level, what lifts people up, what brings them down. Those are dials that you can turn and should turn. And feng shui, get people to feng shui their space. I have feng shuied a great many businesses, and I think it's integral to the success of everything else on this flywheel. I have a book on momentum that talks about that a little bit more, but this should hopefully give you some places to start. Take a peek at anything I have in here, and if there's anything missing, give me a call. I'd be happy to chat. Godspeed. Good luck with it.